Welcome back. It is always a good day when I wake up and I give thanks. And I know that today is a day that I am privileged to introduce you to another extraordinary human being with quite a story. And this person actually happens to be a personal friend, which is always fun for me. Just a couple quick housekeeping things. Holy cow, I haven't been online and in the back end for a few weeks. So when I signed on today, I was super excited. New York City, my number one city in the country, which I'm on the West Coast. And it seemed like LA and San Francisco and San Diego were kind of giving you kids a run for your money. And then all of a sudden, New York just said, oh, no, no, no. We love where death is dinner conversation, which is what the next room is all about. So thank you, New York. Houston, Texas, number two. New Brunswick, Canada, three. I have got Portland, Oregon. I love Portland. Thank you. Miami, Florida. Don't know what's going on down there, but I'll take it. Sydney, Australia. Australia, always huge. Not just Sydney, but my friends in Melbourne and Perth. So appreciative that you're downloading. San Diego, you came in eighth this week. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Bristol, Connecticut. And I think that's it for my top cities. So thank you. Love the community on Facebook. Oh my gosh, it's so genuine and sincere. And we're not just talking about our grief there, we're talking about our perspective as human beings and what it truly means to live. And if you accept and understand that we are all going to die, it's just a matter of how and when, you really grasp onto the perfect beauty of what it means to be human and to enjoy this life experience right here, right now. Okay, all out of the way. That's enough of Jane for today. My guest is Lenny B. Lenny B and I, we worked together in radio years ago, a couple decades ago, and we just really enjoyed each other because Lenny and I would get in these very deep conversations, a little bit different than the average radio bear. Very positive human being, very uplifting, and he had enormous talent, like the most talent out of anyone I've ever worked with. He is a professional voiceover. He is a producer. He is an engineer. There's really nothing he can't do on the audio and visual side of this industry. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to my very dear friend, Lenny B. Lenny, welcome to the next room.
Hi, Jane. Thank you. It was beautiful. I'm blushing a little bit, I think, but that was
Ah,
really nice of you. And I got to say, I'm just proud of what you're doing and to hear just how things are expanding for you and the book and just the podcast and everything. It's really, really cool. And yes, you and I have been talking about creative stuff and um, just broadcast and emoting, I think, and being creative for a long time.
yes, we have. Lenny, for the listeners that I have for the next room, tell me in a nutshell, what is it that you're doing? You are creating brilliant content, but in your words, what is it that you do in your big studio?
Yeah, so a broadcast background. I've been radio all my life, but I, as radio, traditional radio, the industry has kind of been shrinking a little bit. I've always had an idea of just doing different things online and YouTube and just kind of expanding what I do. And I guess to sum it up, I love audio and recording and producing and making voice specifically sound good. Oh God, I hope my voice sounds okay right now. Wouldn't that be something?
You
Uh,
sound great.
but I create I do custom settings for voiceover artists all over the world. That's kind of what I'm doing right now, and a lot of training. If people have a problem and they're doing audiobooks or they're doing video games or voiceover for commercials or Netflix or I mean you name it. If people with their own YouTube channel. I have people that are voices on some of the popular video games or gaming channels. Like there's just gamers out there that stream on Twitch, and it just goes on and on and on. Anybody who creates content with their voice speaking into a microphone, I help you make a better connection with your audience. And one of those ways is by making your voice sound better.
I love that. And, I will say that I went and I was on your YouTube channel, and I feel like we're all here to help one another, no matter what the journey looks like.
Yes.
And the more that we can help to elevate another person with whatever skill set that maybe we were blessed to have is really cool. And that is something that I love that you're doing. You actually are helping and giving away a lot of information on your YouTube channel. I mean, and the comments are crazy. Like, people are really enjoying it. Tell me the concept about how that came to be where you wanted to share your gifts with other people.
Absolutely. That was the impetus. I think that's the right word. That was the crux of how it all kind of shifted to becoming a job, to where I quit my radio gig and then focused on this full time. I realized, and I feel that everybody has a gift. Everybody's great at something, and it could even be embarrassed. I often speak to people who I know that I'm just going to give you a good example. There's folks that are like into Comic Con, and we're in San Diego where the Comic Con convention is, where there's animation and people get dressed up, and it's all about cartoons and comic books and movies and things. There are people that are so into that. It's their passion and they love it. But it's actually a skill and it's a gift. Like, they know the details about all these things and they're really into it. And I often say, even if your skill or your gift is even odd or a little embarrassing or not, it's not something that you've learned as a major. There's no major for it in college, right? Whatever your gift is, whatever you can do better than anything else, whatever you've always been good at since you were a kid, it comes naturally, and you feel like, oh, I could do that all day. That's easy. As soon as you realize that that's what your channel should be about, and when I say channel, I don't necessarily mean Instagram or YouTube or whatever. It's your it's your story. As soon as you realize that's what you have to offer, what is that gift? Some people don't find it until much later. Some people think they know what it is, but then they realize it's not, and have to kind of change and whatever. And some people can have many of them. But once I started focusing, I go, okay, Lenny, well, here's what happened. I had 5 iterations of my YouTube channel, five, and 4 of them failed. And I, Jane, I could make audio sound good. I could produce a video. I know about lighting and aperture settings and color correction. And so I was producing all these things. I'm like, why isn't this working? Why is nobody caring? Why is this not getting any traction? Why are people not subscribing? What am I doing wrong? And I kept failing, and I said, all right, let me try this. What's the market looking for? Okay, what are people searching for? What coattails can I jump on? What's going to work? And it wasn't until I said, okay, Lenny, stop. What are you good at? What do you love? Even if it's embarrassing, what is it that you do that you're just really, it comes natural? And it's EQ and compression and tuning in audio and making stuff sound good. I just love it. It's nerdy, and as soon as I started teaching that, illustrating my expertise, um, teaching people how to do exactly what I do. It was the passion, I think, that people saw. I'm like, this, and it's you're right with the comments. People are like, man, you know what you're doing. You're so into this. It's the passion. I'm speaking on a topic that I truly, truly get excited about. Um, I often say that if we watch a movie and I talk to my wife about compression and EQ, and she rolls her eyes like one more time, she's out. I think she's going to bail on me. You watch the movie, but listen to that EQ.
Mm.
So I love doing that. I love talking about that stuff. And then it just started taking off from there. So I think everybody has a gift. And once you realize what yours is, and you accept it and then start teaching it and giving it, and man, that is Jane Asher 101.
You know what, Lenny? This is really a great topic for the next room. Because there is a discovery as we gently age and we go through this process of being these human beings, right? We're these spiritual beings having this human experience. And it's never too late. It's never too late to stop chasing your tail, so to speak, or the latest trend, or watching everybody else and trying to mimic what someone else is doing, and just go, what is it that I love, that I just can't get enough of? And then go do that. So, this is a brilliant topic for this because this life experience, nobody really knows. We're just here. We're kind of having this moment, right?
Yeah.
Um, I love that. So you went through four different iterations. You finally landed. It's Lenny B. Um, and you are offering these courses to people. So that is your passion. That is why you're here. And it took you how long to get there?
It's been long, maybe about 10 years, maybe,
Okay.
maybe
All
even a little
right.
bit more. I was just trying a bunch of things and I was trying to figure out, I mean, from a mechanical and from a business standpoint, I was trying
Okay.
how to make money off of creating my own content stream and how to make it a business and how to do what I love doing instead of going to work and instead of producing stuff for other people, how do I produce stuff for myself? And what I realized is, you know, every and here's another thing, and I think you're experiencing exactly this too. Um, there are people all over the world. The internet has made the world really small. There are people, and just I would love to be talking about the um, different countries and continents of people that are just kind of magnetically being drawn to you. There are people all over this world that are looking for exactly what you do. They're looking for you. You have to make a roadmap for them to find you. And
Mm.
they won't unless you tell your story. And that's what your book is doing every day. That's what your podcast is doing every day. That's what my YouTube channel is doing it every day. And how beautiful is this? Because you can generate income doing what you love to do. It's really kind of the silver lining of the sometimes kind of ugly internet that can be stressful and bullying and all those types of things, and stories that you hear. But how wonderful if you use it from a business standpoint and or just to tell your story and connect. And I often say this, Jane. I often say I have a yes, I sell courses, and one of the courses is a marketing course that I sell. And it's exactly what I've done to create a business with my YouTube channel. And one of the things I think was really cool that I realized how beautiful it kind of is. It's called magnetic. No, it used to be. That was the working title. It's called Modern Synergy Marketing. I changed magnetic to the word synergy because that's the name of the training course that I have. Um, it's because if I illustrate my skill and I show that, hey, this is what I've always been good at, this is my gift, and somebody else finds me online and goes, wow, you're really good at that. I need that. That connection is synergy. And here's the cool part. I'm never the sleazy car salesman, ever,
Of
makes, I'm mortified of being. I don't want to be a burden or
course
anything.
not.
Right? That's just my personality, but it's easy. I don't have to sell. I illustrate what I'm doing, and they're like, "Wow, I've been looking for that." And then, um, a cool thing happens is by them purchasing my gift or my expertise in a course or a custom processing preset or whatever we're working on, they're helping me fulfill my dream of independently doing what I love and not having to work, and I work from my home and then they're helping me reach my goal and I'm helping them reach their goal. So it's like this two beautiful little it's cool. How cool is that?
I love that. Wow, that speaks to me. First of all, I love the quote about people all over the world are looking for you, and you need to create a roadmap for them to find you. That's a Lenny B original. That's beautiful. And then modern synergy marketing, I wrote down a little note. Jane needs this course. That's great. That is very cool.
That
Um,
course that course will be in your inbox by the time we're done with this conversation. I want you to have it.
love that. Um, Lenny, let's talk about the experience of as we are aging and we're having to say goodbye physically to our loved ones. And we're all going through it, whether it is a best friend or a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle. It is happening at such a rapid pace as we are privileged enough to continue to age. I mean, I'm almost 63 and I don't hide the fact. I never try to like do the filters with the face because I earned every one of these frickin' wrinkles, man. And I'm privileged to be here because I have many people that checked out early, as my dad would say. He loved
Yes.
this, you
Yes.
know? So let's talk about that and how perhaps what has happened through the loss of, or not loss, because I don't think we really ever lose them, but saying goodbye to someone as pivotal as your mother um, has maybe helped you shape who you are right now.
I'm sorry. I didn't expect
No, I didn't mean to blindside you at all.
what just came into my head.
Okay, good.
Jane, what's that? I got to get my composure here for a second.
Okay, please do.
Just,
Take your time.
just, no,
Take
no, no,
your
no, no.
time.
Great. It's great. I'm glad you brought this up. What just came into my brain,
Okay.
composure, is my mom would love what I'm doing.
I need to just say something right now. It's not that your mom would. Your mom is
Yes.
loving
Yes.
what you are doing right now
I,
without a shadow of a doubt. And I speak from experience. So I'm just going to say, and this is Jane's opinion. Everybody that listens to this podcast knows that I am super woo woo, but it's always based on what I have personally experienced. So,
in the
um,
in the
what is
title
your
of
what is your mom's name?
it's a Francine.
Francine. Okay. All right. So hang on, Francine. Welcome to the next room. Your son is here today. So um, she does love what you're doing. And I just wanted to welcome her to the show as well.
Thank you, Jane. Yeah, this morning, somebody, one of a potential client. I have people that come to me all the time, and I don't necessarily sell things to everybody, but I just try to help because I know what it's like to be like, hey, how can I find something? And this morning, I spent an hour with somebody, and they were so happy because they've been searching for this information, and I'm like, I just like putting it out there and I just know like that's my mom. That's her. She would dig that. She would do that constantly. My mom and I like the pet. We like the you're doing it. You're appreciated. That's just our personality. Love the pet. That was just us, totally. And
Mm,
it comes back like 10 times, which is totally cool. And um yeah, I just know that I'm doing her.
wow.
It's just I know she digs it. I know she does.
Wow. I'm like head to toe rush right now. This is super powerful because a lot of times when I was first making the pivot and getting into this particular topic, and we cover it all, soup to nuts. We'll talk about green burial practices or cultural traditions or grief or the afterlife. And I even love to have a good atheist on the show because I'm fascinated by people and their journey. And all I know is what works for me. I'm
Right.
not trying to tell anybody what to do, how to do it, or how to believe. But the fact that this naturally came in is really quite lovely because a lot of times we're so worried about how we are being received and
Yeah.
how, oh, so and so is going to think I'm nuts, you know. And once you get rid of that and you think, who gives a rat's ass what anybody
Ego.
thinks?
Yep.
Seriously, the minute you do make that pivot and you honor your strengths and why you're here, and you're able to say that Francine and the pet and that she's loving this, that is so powerful, Lenny. I am really proud of you for being able to be that raw and that genuine and
I,
that authentic. So rock on. Okay, that's enough of Jane again. So let's talk about, so you help this individual, and that's what you're here to do. So you have found your passion, you have found your muse. It's not like you had to go out and look for it. It was there all along. You just had to stop living everybody else's story and live the Lenny B story.
yeah, it was like, what do I have to give? It's like look inside, and then also what happens is you automatically become original. It's difficult because you and I, it was extra difficult because you and I are
Mm,
from we're from a traditional marketing mindset where you speak to the masses, you want to include everybody because a DJ's job, which you and I have both been and still do some today, a DJ's job is to get as many people to listen for as long as possible. Period. Every single word, every sentence you say is that's the job that it has. No matter what you do, every time you open the microphone, you want to get as many people to listen to as long as possible. And what I'm doing and what I realized is it's really the inverse of that, and that's what the internet and has kind of made available. But that is something it took me a while to kind of get over. Um, but at the core of the whole thing is helping people, and I'm going to get this is kind of behind the scenes here, which is it's not always not good to do. But again, from a radio standpoint, your P1s recruit P2s, and what I mean by that is if you help somebody and they're overwhelmingly happy with what you've done for them, they will tell and help tell your story better than you will.
mm,
And that just it just so it just it's like it snowballs and
right.
every day you just keep getting more and more people coming to you for your expertise to help you realize your goal and you're doing more to help other people and just kind of elevates. And I want to say I have a couple stories I want to share with you about my mom that I
Ah,
think you're gonna love. And yes, and I think you'll laugh. And
okay, good. Please do.
I wanted to say one more thing about the following your um, following your path and just kind of like giving your gift, right? Doing what you do to give your gift. Um, I kind of feel like remember in like the high school yearbooks, you look in the history books, right? And there would be like illustrations of like cavemen, right? And it would be like the protozoa era. I don't even know if that's the right era where there were cavemen, but you know what I'm talking about. You see the illustration,
Yes.
it's like the old caveman. It's like the grandparents, they're around the fire, and then it's wait, it was the great grandparents, grandparents, the kids, and then their kids, and they're all kind of around the fire. And it was like the great it was the old ones, and they were kind of saggy, and, the loincloth, and the old guy would be like, he'd just say a few words, but it was like wise, right? It was like he would just have to say a couple things, and they all go, whoa, whoa, right? With this is my spear right now, when we're around the campfire. I you know, and this is how this relates. Everything that I've experienced is like that beautiful, valuable information to people younger than me. So anyone starting to try to sound good on a microphone that just bought their first mic, I've been through hundreds of microphones. I've spent so much time learning. You are a guru. You're an expert to people that know less than you on your gift. If you have a passionate kind of a thing about it. I realize that too. It's like, I by all means I still have things to learn, but you have so much to give to people that are starting and don't know and so it's such a wonderful it makes me feel good to help somebody and go, yeah, I remember that stumped me too. Let me show you what the answer is in my opinion of what to do. And and I always I always preface stuff by saying, there may be other ways to do it. This is how I found it works. And in my opinion, I do that all the time. So I don't want to ever say somebody else is wrong or not doing it the correct way. But that really, I think, is once you kind of understand that, it gives your experience value. You know,
Mm, yeah, I wrote down audio ancestors. So I'm like curious. And I do believe that, you could probably track it, that there is a reason why you have this gift, this audio gift through the bloodline of your ancestors somewhere, some caveman
Yes.
down the line was showing them how to make better sound, taking two rocks and cracking them together and going, here, if you come over to my cave, I'll
Right.
show you the echo vibe, the EQ, right? Oh, Lenny, that's good.
Yeah.
What you were just saying too reminds me of a great quote. You only give to yourself. And I just love that so much because in giving to others, what happens? You feel good. You get that warm and wonderful feeling whenever you give a gift to someone and they light up. It lights you up from the inside. So I believe that we're just here to continually make ourselves happy by giving to ourselves, by giving to others. That's just my little happy concept of how it works. Okay, so Francine is jumping up and down, and she said, it's enough of you two. Let's talk about me. Tell me a Francine story.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this. This is cathartic, I think, even just to talk
Good.
about it. I mean, I had some great parents. We grew up here in San Diego, and they bought me a drum set when I was a little kid and
God bless them.
dealt with all the noise. And I mean, I was very, very well supported. My mom and dad both were kind of eh, music and entertainment and stuff. My mom always wanted to be a movie star and sang all the time and blah blah. So it's cool that I kind of naturally did that, but they totally supported me, which is really cool. Um, and I think that, working in the music industry, I have a nephew now who, by the way, is going on tour around the world, which is so
Wow.
awesome. And I listen to his stuff and it just keeps going and it's really, really cool. But my mom, uh, I guess this relates, to the next room and some of the stories I've heard about your mom and and some of the ways that your dad communicated with your mom, and I know the story of the next room and um you know so my mom had dementia towards the end, so she slowly kind of faded away. Her vibrant Sicilian background and her loud laugh and her just huge over the top personality, um kind of, it just dissolved slowly, which I kind of half thought like, wow, that's a soft landing. That's actually not a horrible way to go, right? But it was difficult towards the end, blah, blah, blah. Uh, uh, I want to tell you a couple things that kind of were opened my eyes a little bit. It's maybe on the little graphic side, but I think, death is dinner discussion. So, um, hospice was 9 days.
Wow.
And it was horrible. It's the worst thing I've ever had to deal with in my whole life. Because you're watching somebody clearly suffering, physical and mental. And my dad's right there, and he's still with us, by the way. And he's every stereotypical Sicilian man you could, the picture in your head, that's my dad. He's the household leader. He is the man of the house, and he's in charge, even though he can't walk by himself, but he's still in charge.
Of course.
So, making sure he's taken care of, but just the whole thing, the hospice, it was just torture. It was so hard. And, from administering the medication just for 9 days, and the whole thing was just horrible. Well, she was, the dementia was legit for maybe a decade, and she was just gone, and, it wasn't there. But the last few moments, her eyes were tracking, and she was there.
Mm.
Like there, and it had taken a long time, like I hadn't seen her for a long, while.
Wow. Mm.
And so that was, to me, that was, I've heard of that happening towards the end and right before they pass away. So that was
Mhm.
like a huge thing. It's like, wow, there's something else going on here, bigger than all this. That was one. And then, this is embarrassing and a little bit graphic, and I think maybe some people might be mad at me if I say this, but I'm gonna say it. my
Say
mom
it.
al- my mom also had a sick sense of humor like me, and I think a lot of radio people. Like you
Yeah.
think sometimes you in my head is like, oh no, you can't say that out loud. My mom had a great sense of humor, real edgy, and so she passed away, and we were oh Jane, this is I'm not going to filter myself because it's just a great story. I love it. I think you're going to like it too. You'll laugh. So we're all exhausted. 9 days, and I slept there for 9 days, and you're just exhausted, and you feel like this relief, and she's finally not suffering anymore. And it's like we can, okay, now this is the whole thing. It was like getting over this hurdle that we knew was coming that was horrible. So she's gone. The hospice nurse is there. They pronounce her dead. We're in the living room of her house, the house that I grew up in. And the guys from the hearse pulls up in the car, and they bring her, and she's and she's in the hospital bed, and they have the white sheets, and they wrap her, and I'm holding my wife's hand, and I'm watching. My dad and everybody else are in the other room because now I'm the man of the house, and I just got to handle all the business, and I had to step up and do it, and I didn't want to do it, but you have to. I'm signing the paperwork, I'm talking to the nurses, I'm cleaning. I got to call the place to take the bed out of the room, and we got to think. It's like right away I'm trying to do all this mechanical stuff, the business. And so the guys are like wrapping her body in the white sheet, and they're about to take her to the morgue. And I'm holding my wife's hand, and I'm standing there, and my sick sense of humor, I couldn't help it. I was exhausted. My wife, this is great. Something's coming. All I could think about was every CSI show that I've ever seen when they're wrapping up like a murder body. And I said to the guys, "Do you guys want some like duct tape for the feet?" And my wife squeezed my hand so,
Shut up.
and
Oh,
the guy looked at me and he goes, "Oh, we got a comedian, do we?"
oh,
And I thought to
no.
myself, shit,
Yeah.
my mom would have thought that was hilarious.
Oh, your mom is laughing. She loved it.
It was the most funny thing I could say, probably. I was exhausted, but
Oh,
I probably
yeah.
filter was off.
Yeah.
But my wife started giggling because she knows how just inappropriate that was.
So good, though.
Strangers are in my house, but I'm thinking about, you know what?
Come on.
I I loved it, and I keep thinking about that, and in my head I'm like, I know my mom is like laughing at that. It's like it was the most inappropriate thing
Absolutely.
to say, and I
Can
got
I?
I got that
Yeah,
sense of humor from somewhere, and it was
absolutely.
so. But it was also it's also a
Mm.
mechanism that I always use to diffuse uncomfortable situations. It's just to say something so off kilter. Um.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I just wanted to
I
share that
love
with
it.
you
And
because
I just think that that is real. That is why we are here. We have this experience. And I'll be darned if we can't laugh. I mean, and death is just, in my estimation, it's a continuation, right? So we're just moving on. Whatever you want to believe is fine, but I just believe we're here, and then we're in the next room, we're over here. Physically, we're not equipped to be able to connect, but many of us kind of still can. And Lenny, honestly, I think that's a blog. I believe right there that story needs to be shared. I would post that on my website. I no, I love it. I love that it's stripped down and it's comedy. And I don't think you're alone. I think there's a lot of people that have to grab something real and something funny. And the fact that your mother had the same type of sense of humor, I mean, that came from somewhere.
right.
Um, I love it. Oh, that's funny.
And I
I can
also,
see it
yeah, it was
so
great. I
bad.
think it endeared my wife to me a little bit more. I mean, we were, like I said, we were exhausted.
Right.
There
Oh,
was
yeah.
whatever, but it definitely cut the tension in the room. But I want to tell you one other thing, Jane, because it's just relating to all this, and when we kind of connected after a little while, and just talked about the idea of me coming on and discussing, what I'm doing, and then even I wanted to talk about my mom and your mom and just dealing with this because at this age, I think this is what happens. My wife and I came across our wedding video, which is like 15 something, 14 years old, and we're just like, oh my God, he's gone, she's gone, they passed away. It's part of life. When you're a kid, you don't think about it, and that's probably a good idea, but because you don't have to worry about it. You shouldn't worry about it when you're a kid. Hopefully, you don't have to worry about these things. But it's part of growing up. And I will tell you, Jane, I say things every single day. That's my mom. I say stuff to my sister, and I know she gets a little smile because it's through me. She's
Yeah.
here still.
Oh, yeah.
I really feel that.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it.
Oh
No,
my God,
she's
Jane,
her her
how many times am I crying on this thing? What's happening?
I
Good Lord.
love it. No, I love it. I think that, we've had discussions about uh the realness and really showing up and being authentic. And people can cut through the bullshit, Lenny. They can cut through it so quickly.
Yep.
And they know if you're, acting. It's just not where it's at for this show, for what I'm doing, and the people that I offer this space to. I absolutely, how many times throughout this show I said to myself, this is going to be huge. This show is going to go places. Like, I just know what you've shared is going to resonate with so many individuals on the planet. And God darn it, we all need to have a good laugh over death, right? Um, I just think it's the best. Did you ever see the video? He was an old Irish dude, and it was famous where he had pre-recorded his voice before he left. And as they're lowering his body in the ground, and it's this beautiful outdoor ceremony somewhere in Ireland. And all of a sudden, you hear him go, "Help, help, I want out of here. It's dark. It's dark." Everyone loses it. You can Google it. I'm telling you, it's one of my very favorite cemetery stories. And he's swearing and everything, and everybody just can't stop laughing. It is the best. That's what we should be doing. We should be celebrating a life well lived, and having a good laugh over it. Or a lot of people now, too. I love the living wake, especially if someone's not well. Like, let's have a living wake and tell them how much we dig them while they're still here on
Yes.
this side with us, instead of saying all of that nice stuff once they've, as my dad would say, checked out into the next room. So this is good. This is very, very good. So, oh my gosh, lennyb.com is where you can find my brilliant friend. And, so many people that are listening have podcasts and they're always reaching out to me going, I need help. And I'm like, I wish I could help you. I can barely help myself. As the saying goes, Jane can barely find her ass with two hands in the studio. Literally, it's just not my forte, and I'm okay with it. So if you are listening and you are looking for courses in audio, you need some good, what is it? Let me see, modern synergy marketing. You want to go, please sign up for his brilliant YouTube channel. Just boop, give him a little click on, and then you can see the people that he's connecting with. And Lenny B obviously has the heart to help. And that's one of the great reasons why he's here and he's my friend. Um, is there anything we didn't touch on? Yet another story? Is there something you want to share that's in there that I didn't get to? Um, please.
Thank you. Just yeah, I think one thing that may kind of help. I don't want people to be shy. One of the cool things that I do is
Ah,
if you send me your audio, let's say you are doing some type of recording on a microphone. It could be anything, even if you're just using your iPhone or whatever, and you want to just help, you want to improve the quality of what you're doing with your audio. I have people send me their raw recording, and I have
mm,
details about how to do it, and I'll send back for free just an example of what. Hey, let me see if I could fix it and makes it sound a little bit better, and I'll show I can offer a setting for you, or at least just give you a little bit of tips. Like, oh, you know what you really need to do is you need to get in a bigger room, or you need to get some acoustic treatment, and here's what that is. Or your microphone sucks, and don't spend any more money until you get a better microphone, and then it'll sound better. I can hear all those things. So, and that's something I do for free. So if you go to my website, there's a little red button at the top, and it shows you how to submit. And don't be shy, because the people that know the least amount are the ones that I can help the
I
best.
love that. I'll tell you right now where you're going to tap into, because I have a lot of them listening. Independent authors that, tell their story. And then you have to go, it's a whole nother subset from aside from Amazon, is Audible. Lenny, I'm telling you, I did my own book, of obviously. It was the most challenging, the hardest voiceover I've ever done in my life because Audible is so picky and they give you all these funky settings and they kick your audio back. And it was the biggest pain in my arse.
Mm.
I will tell you, this is a great service for any independent authors out there that are afraid of recording because it's a well known fact. If you write a book, the audience or your listeners or your fans of your book want to hear it in your voice. You don't need to hire someone to do the audio. Do it yourself. But send it to Lenny, and then Lenny can turn around and help you out through this free service he has. I'm telling you, Lenny, brilliant plan to help people doing Audible because it is so challenging. Oh
If
my God.
if
It's
you feel like meeting ACX loudness standards is a problem, okay. Yeah,
I did. I'm telling you, Lenny, I cried. I
yeah.
cried because they kicked it back so many times. And I was like, this is the most challenging. And at the time, I still thought you were, rocking it out inside of a radio station and would not have ever bothered you because that's me. Oh, I don't want to bother my friends, my
Mm.
professional friends. Um,
Guy.
yeah, I wish, but it's done. But I'm telling you, any independent authors out there, ACX is cray cray. It's so hard to work with. But you
Yeah,
probably know exactly what they want, you know?
I do. And if you feel like that's challenging, I could absolutely help with all that stuff and make you sound really good. My whole thing is I want I want the microphone to disappear. I want to capture your emotion and your spirit,
Mm,
the sentiment, and the reason why you're writing the book in the first place. I want your vibe to come
mm.
through, and that's what I really try to do with the EQ and compression and the sound, and then make ACX happy by meeting their standards exactly where they need it, and you get it accepted right away. Yeah, I do
Yeah,
that.
that's huge. That's huge. LennyB.com. And also, like I said, please go sign up for his YouTube channel. And Lenny, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful to have you on. I just feel like you need to come back on and do another show with me. And I want to thank your mom. Thanks, Francine, for showing up today because I did feel the pet a few times. I really did. She is 100% here and so, so proud of her boy. She just digs everything about you. So I don't know why I know that, but I just feel it. Before we even started recording, I usually get in a frame of mind for a different show with a different set of music. And I went right for my favorite big band, my Frank Sinatra, my Nat King Cole's. And I just had this really good vibe when I walked out here. I just had a feeling. And this show has surpassed any kind of expectations I had for it. So thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate it. It was a blast. I have one last question. Has
Please.
anybody cried this much on your podcast
Oh
before?
my God. Yes, I have had lots of people, uh, death is difficult. And what happens too is sometimes what happens, those emotions are in there, right? And you're thinking, I'm going to go on, talk to my friend Jane on her podcast, The Next Room. Yeah, she talks about death, blah, blah, blah. But you aren't thinking in your head that you're going to have this emotional transformation while you're here.
Yes.
And I felt bad, but then once you broke open, I was like, well, this is gold, people. This is beautiful. This is why I show up every day. This is what I love to do. And I'm telling you, Lenny, this show is really going to resonate for so many people. And this isn't to beat on men, but a lot of times men aren't always in touch emotionally as much as I would say women. I cry, I don't know, 15, 16 times a day, easily. I mean, everything makes me cry. A pretty flower, my dog who's curled up down by my feet, something my husband will do or say. I'm always welling up. But men a lot of times it takes a little while to peel back the onion. So for you to just be so raw and giving of yourself and share the stories of your mom, it's meaningful. And I loved every single second of this show.
It was wonderful. Thank you so much, Jane. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to talk again for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for tuning in to the next room. It's where death is dinner conversation. And as you can see, we take it all over the place. So thank you for listening. And thanks for the downloads. I can see that it's growing, and it does take time to kind of take a podcast to the next level. But I truly believe that it's not for me to effort. That, as Lenny said earlier, there are people that need to hear what I have to say, and they're going to find me. I don't need to take out advertising. I'm not going to roll that way. I'm just going to speak from my heart and let this show do what it does, with extraordinary guests like Lenny B. LennyB.com is where you can find him. And of course, the show notes and everything will be on the podcast page. Thanks again for tuning in to The Next Room. Until next week.